Hi, welcome to Faz Edu World. My name is Fasila, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Sassid College, Thaliparamba. Today, I'm here with a new video on an important topic, that is the key distinctions in linguistics. This topic is very relevant even today because you can see a lot of questions from this area in your NET exams. So, let's start our topic. The first distinction is langue and parole. This distinction is very important. It is proposed by Ferdinand de Saussure in the year 1916 in his work A Course in General Linguistics. Langue is language and parole is speech. Langue describes the social, impersonal phenomenon of languages as a system of signs. Langue is psychological, fixed encoding of messages. Parole, on the other hand, describes the individual, personal phenomenon of language as a series of speech acts. It is psychophysical, free and encoding of messages. That is, langue is psychological, parole is psychophysical. Langue is fixed and parole is free. Langue is coding of messages and parole is the encoding of messages. So now we move to the second important distinction, that is traditional and structural grammar or prescriptive or descriptive grammar. So traditional grammar is prescriptive in nature. Traditional grammarians used prescriptive rules on the basis of Latin. So the traditional grammarians imitated Latin language. Writing is primary and speech is secondary in the case of traditional grammar. And the traditional grammarians give importance to diachronic study of language. On the other hand, structural grammar is descriptive in nature. The structural grammarians consider every language is unique in its own way. Spoken is primary and written is secondary. The structural grammar gives importance to the synchronic study of language. So this is what traditional and structural grammar. So traditional grammarians give importance to the prescriptive rules and imitated Latin, and structural grammarians focus on descriptive linguistics, that is purely structural in nature. Let's move to the next distinction, that is diachronic and synchronic linguistics. This distinction was made by Ferdinand de Saussure in 1916. Diachronic approach views linguistic phenomenon in terms of its development through time. It was the major concern of traditional linguistics. It traces the historical development of language, so it is equivalent to historical. Synchronic approach or synchronic linguistics, on the other hand, traces the phenomenon of a particular time. Saussure gives priority to the synchronic approach to language and supports structuralism. So these two are the important distinctions or important approaches of language. The first is the diachronic, which actually stands for period of time, and the second one is synchronic, which stands for a particular point of time. The next distinction is form and substance. Substance and form are the two parts of the quality of language. Substance is the raw material of a language. We have phonic substance, graphic substance, etc. To make these substances meaningful, we should arrange these in a particular form. Here example, you can see the phonemes I, K and T. They are not in a particular order. If we give them form like K, I, T, that is kit, we will get a meaningful word that is kit. The next important distinction is competence and performance. This distinction is explained by the American linguist Noam Chomsky. Competence is a native speaker's knowledge about the formation and interpretation of words, phrases, and sentences in their native language. Performance, on the other hand, is the production of actual sentences in real-life situations. So, if a speaker knows the complete structure of his language, it is the speaker's linguistic competence. And the way in which the speaker uses the language, it is linguistic performance. Competence is a kind of code. Performance is encoding or decoding. It is similar to Lang and Peril of Zorger. So let's move on to the next distinction, that is sign-symbol distinction. Language is made up of signs and it is the central fact of language. A sign is a physical marker which carries some information. It is direct, brief, and precise. Symbol, on the other hand, is more than mere indication. It contains more information, like just the waving of hands. The waving of hands is actually a sign, but it has more meanings like dismissal, farewell, etc. These more meanings can be called as simple. Just the waving of hands is a sign. This distinction is very, very important. The signifier and signified. The linguistic sign consists of two parts, the signifier and the signified. That is, the word or sound is the signifier and the concept or the mental image is the signified. Here an example. The word tree is a signifier and the mental image is the signified. So the next distinction of linguistics is syntagmatic and paradigmatic relationship. A paradigmatic relation is a relation that holds between elements of the same category, that is, elements that can be substituted for each other. A syntagmatic relation is a relation that holds between elements that are combined with each other. So syntagmatic relation is actually in a horizontal axis and paradigmatic relationship is actually in a vertical axis. So here you can see an example The child, horse, walked, ran, kicked. Or you can say the child ran, the horse kicked, etc. So here the relationship among the, horse and kicked can be called as syntagmatic relationship, and relation between walked, ran, or relation between child, horse, etc. can be called as paradigmatic relationship. That relation of substitution is paradigmatic, and relation of association is syntagmatic. The next distinction is related with semantics, that is connotation and denotation. Connotation and denotation are two primary approaches in describing the meanings of words. Connotation refers to a wide range of associates that most words usually have. It represents the social, cultural, and emotional implications associated with a sign. Denotation, on the other hand, is a literal definition of words that is there in a dictionary. It represents the explicit meaning of a sign. The last distinction in linguistics is pidgin and Creole. Pidgin is a contact language with limited vocabulary and limited structures. It is also called trade language, as the driving force to communicate with other community is often trade. Pidgin doesn't have any native speakers like other languages. Creole is a pidgin that has acquired native speakers. That is, Creole is a language spoken by the children of pidgin speakers, and it is the second generation pidgin. That's all. Thank you.